win this competition. She's going to start off with the same mount that we saw Zhang Shai do. Press to a handstand and to a front walkover. She just wants to get up on that beam. The critical move for her coming up is a flip-flop layout, and she's going to need to stay right on this.
Is there a disadvantage being taller on the beam?
Actually, I think it's an advantage with her long lines. Very beautiful. Here it is, layout. Beautiful. She is so square over that beam and so tight. I think what's more impressive about Betty is a move that she's going to show right here. She's been doing a double turn right there. Beautiful. That is as difficult as most of the tumbling moves that they do. She also does a triple turn, which is being called by some people the Aquino. A nice straddle flange.
It doesn't hurt to have the crowd on your side like that, huh, Julianne?
Definitely not. And she's setting up for her dismount here. It's a back handspring into a double back dismount. Very difficult.
All right. A little better than all right. Betty Aquino, she should hold her lead.
And this is why Betty is so good on this event. Watch this. Layout right into immediate layout. It is so difficult. You cannot be 1 inch out of line. And this is the move I was talking about. A double turn right here. Look at that. It's so small, that beam, and boy, she's right on there.
Working on that 4-inch frame, that platform, Betty Aquino now sees her coach move over to her competitor and her friend and her training partner, Kim Zmeskal. And it is an interesting contrast. Zmeskal, she is mindful of the power of Mary Lou Retton, and Aquino, the long line that you graced this sport with, Julianne.
That's right, and you definitely can't underestimate Betty's power, though. She is very strong.
9-9-3-7 for Aquino. Oh, my.
That's going to put Betty in a real good position.
Now we switch to the parallel bars before the break. This is the 4th in this first section. Chris Waller of UCLA. He was 3rd after the preliminaries. He's had some troubles today.
Yeah, he got off to a great start on the floor exercise, but then on pommel horse, of course, that disaster falling off. But this event right here, parallel bars, really lends itself to Chris's overall gymnastic style. Watch, he has real nice long lines. Beautiful toe point, extended body at all times. Everything is pushed to the max. He squeezes those handstands. Now watch this. That skill actually called a Healy twirl, 2 in a row. Make it a D-rated skill for most difficult. Now he has to stick his dismount. It's a double pike. Oh! Landed a little bit off there, Dick. His hips were a little bit out of line, has to take that big step, but overall, a very strong exercise for Chris Waller.
Chris Waller, who will graduate from UCLA. He's a modern European history major, and that effort will be one that will keep him in the middle of the pack of these final 8 as they go for the top money and the top prize in this 1991 American Cup. And we'll return in a moment to Orlando, Florida.
How can Mama's Day think everything is fine?
First trip to the United States, this 23-year-old Chao Liang, one of the many Chinese athletes to watch in gymnastics and every other sport. The People's Republic of China, a land that echoes with thousands of years of history, a land of ancient dynasties and the mysteries guarded inside the walls of Beijing's Forbidden City. In the last half-century, the people of China have witnessed more change than the accumulated experiences of all their ancestors. The late 1960s cultural revolution, a time of chaos, a time of turmoil. Sports were banned, and personal excellence was forbidden. By the early 1980s, China began its recovery. But then, June 1989, events that shocked the world. While trying to keep pace with a wave of democracy rising throughout the world, young Chinese students attempted to change their system. Suddenly and tragically, their efforts were drowned by the Chinese military. Although the people roam freely through Tiananmen Square today, the attending guards cast shadows that remind of the events of a year and a half ago. 1991, and China seems to be reaching out in its efforts to win favor at home and abroad. Their latest show of strength is through the virtuous force of sport. Gymnasium walls are filled with Chinese characters, slogans telling the children to succeed, work hard, and win for the motherland. China has competed in a total of 6 Olympic Games, but with limited early success until their rebirth in 1984. With the government's enthusiasm behind its sports programs, China is now a building force in international athletics. They continue to dominate in their traditional sports, such as table tennis. And women's volleyball, where they came away with a bronze medal in the Seoul Games. And the world has been forewarned. China's young and precocious talent in swimming and diving is very real. And in gymnastics, a system has developed similar to that which has evaporated in Eastern Europe. After school, children train in what is known as spare time sports schools. Each province has its own, hand-picking those athletes showing promise. Sound familiar? This is Chao Liang. He's a product of the system. Born in Beijing, he began gymnastics at age 7. He is currently the top men's gymnast in China, having won all but Olympic honors, and was invited to compete here in Orlando, an idol for those who follow. As is Zhang Xia. She's from Shandong province, barely 4.5 feet tall, just 77 pounds. She, too, a budding force in women's gymnastics, and she'll compete today as well. So a new century approaches. This mighty giant designs the role it will play, and China's youth seem moved to succeed through sports. The impressive 3,000-mile Wall of China, appropriately symbolic. Just as one man can only see a small piece of this impressive structure, so it is that we may be witnessing only the early seeds of a sports dynasty building in China. And that certainly includes gymnastics. And here is Chao Liang, who needs a 9.40 to hold his place in second behind Trent Demas of the United States. And there is his countrywoman and teammate who has been delightful here, Zhang Xia. Now Liang.
You know, Dick, 11 of those medals in 1984 were won by gymnastics for the Chinese. A very impressive tally. He's hoping to follow in the footsteps of some of the past greats, Li Ning, Teng Fei from the People's Republic of China. This a real strong event for him. He'll show us something a little later on, a new trend developing in gymnastics. It's a release skill on the parallel bars. Watch this, 1 3/4 front in the pike position. That is so difficult. Once again, gymnastics is always changing, always evolving. A little bit of a form deduction there. You notice the bent arms in the handstand. Has a wonderful presence in his gymnastics, though. Everything is so calculated. Everything is very exact. His dismount, a double tuck, and a big hop forward. You know, that's going to hurt him, Dick, because he opted to do an easier dismount, not a D-rated dismount, and still took the big hop.
Well, Demas scored 9.80. He's the leader in the parallel bars, so his lead is not in danger, and it would appear that we will have no change in the top 3. We'll be right back.
Okay, you're trying to decide.
Parallel bar score for Zhao Liang of China, 9.65, so he holds his position in second behind This young man, Trent Demas, 20 years old, Albuquerque, New Mexico, matriculated at the University of Nebraska as a freshman, and now has returned to Albuquerque, where he's a part-time student at the University of New Mexico. Wants to concentrate completely on his international amateur athletics and not on his collegiate form. Kim Zameskel waiting her turn on the balance beam.
And this is the position that we most hate to be in for a female gymnast. Kim is trailing Betty Okino. Betty did an incredible beam exercise, scored a 9.937, and Kim knows that she's got to hit this. Fortunately, this is a great event for Kim. She's real solid on this event. She doesn't have quite the lines and the fluidness of Betty, but she's a real tough competitor.
Even a perfect 10 would not catch Okino. And one event left, one rotation, the floor exercise, which may be Zameskel's strongest.
Definitely. Going into floor exercise on her last event. And believe me, she's going to try for that 10 here. She knows she's got to get something real good.
Betty Okino watches as her teammate, 10th grader from Houston, goes to work.
Kim mounts with a press handstand to a reverse flange here. That takes such strength. And her big move that's a key to her exercise is also a flip-flop layout, which we saw Betty do earlier. That's coming up right here. Right on. Kim has a nice combination coming up here. She does a switch leap right into another switch leap. It's a gymnastics requirement. She's got one more tough move before her dismount. It's a back tuck swing down. There it is. Oh, she's a little off center. That's going to cost her a few tenths. She's going to set up here for a dismount, round off, double back dismount. Nice dismount.
Kim Zameskel, the current national champion. Her parents in the audience applauding. David and Claire. He's a sales manager. She's a computer operator.
No problem.
One major bobble in the routine.
That is just the one major bobble that she had is right here on this back tuck. She's just, if you could see, a little off center, not on the way over, but on the way down. This is another angle of the same skill.
Looked like she missed her hand, Julianne. That actually...
She looked like she was good coming over, and on her landing down on the balance beam, she was just off center. And that does hurt.
Female performer. Several medals in the last World Championships held in Stuttgart. Just doesn't seem to be quite as sharp. Watch this skill, though. He goes underneath the bar. These are called giants, and right there, that's a giant with a half turn. Actually very difficult. He's working very well at this point, you know, but he's really not knocking your socks off. It's a nice exercise, Ben.